Hi, everyone. Let's go ahead and start covering the ninth energy center, which is called divine inspiration, or alternatively, in the terminology of the core motivators, is called the creative artist. So, people with this as their primary energy center, divine inspiration slash creative artists, are really grounded in what I think of as the energy of passion. So they're very present and they're super dialed into their impulses. And they spend much of their time in a really highly inspired state. So people that are primary in divine inspiration, they're very visionary. They have a love for novelty, innovation. So they're really into new ideas, new ways of doing things, sometimes interacting with new people, having new experiences, that sort of thing. As you might expect, they're bored by the status quo, so they're very non-conforming and don't really value the status quo. And they're highly, highly independent. They like to do things their own way. But what's interesting is that they are not out to deliberately uh, shake up the status quo. So they're not like the power people, the divine power slash reformers. The creative artist is really just into following their own internally driven inspiration. And in the process of doing that, the things that they end up creating do have an effect on the rest of us by shaking up that status quo. So, the innovation, the novelty. These creative artists, they're also, because they're so internally driven, they tend to be very energetically attuned, which, shows up as being highly intuitive and energetically sensitive to people around them. So, if I had to really sum up what a creative artist looks like, they're just really, their jam is just following their inspiration to the point of expressing whatever this vision is. So it's not just simply holding these inspired visions, but they're really about taking that vision and implementing it in whatever medium their creative expression is. And so, where do you find these creative artists? They can cut across many activities and careers. Probably the most common place that you'll find them is in entrepreneurial endeavors, because they are very self-driven and, just almost radically innovative. Um, so, yeah, the other thing is that because they get so bored by the status quo and because they're so in touch with their impulses, they almost always have lots of projects going on simultaneously. So, very busy people, they're usually on the move a lot. So, there is some overlap with the energetic field with the reformers, but it's just a little bit of overlap. There's still a very separate and distinct energy center. So let's talk about the dysfunctional expression of divine inspiration. So, because the creative artist usually has so much going on and they're just like really, marching to the beat of their own inner drummer, they are really at risk of, having too much going on. So that can show up as them kind of being scattered or unfocused. And in its most extreme sense, it shows up as them not completing their projects. So their efforts get really diluted and they don't bring things to complete fruition. Sometimes by having these multiple projects, like too many things going on, the other thing is that the creative artist can be at risk for getting sucked into drama with other people. So if their creative outlets are not going along smoothly, if they're not getting stuff done, they can very easily let their attention uh, get diverted to what I call drama, so some negative or dysfunctional interactions with other people. And then the other thing that they're at risk for is that by having lots of things going on simultaneously, is they can show up as what we would label a workaholic. So really digging in, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not bringing things to fruition. They're certainly capable of working exceptionally hard and getting stuff done, but they can sometimes do that at the expense of self-care. Okay, so what are the antidotes for the dysfunctional expression for the creative artist? Well, again, boundaries, and in particular, self boundaries. So the creative artist's challenge is to be able to really set boundaries on themselves so that they can develop focus. It doesn't mean that they only have to stick with one project, but instead of like maybe 20, they're better served by narrowing it down to a more manageable number. So boundaries that help support focus and that help support them not overdoing it so that they can leave room to recover and to participate in things that we would think of as self-care. So if they do that, that's going to dial down the drama that they're at risk of engaging in. So yeah, so divine inspiration, this is just a really fun group of people who are primary in this energy center. And the gift that they bring us, the rest of us, is really improving our world, our ways of operating. Even though that's not their intention, that's one of the fabulous byproducts of the creative artists following their impulses and bringing things to the point of completion. And then on a more personal level, the creative artists really teach us by example just the amazing and astounding and magnificent things that we too are capable of creating if we allow ourselves to look inward and feel and begin to act and express the inspirations and visions that we also hold. So there you go, the ninth and final energy center, divine inspiration, the creative artist.